all Harkey amplifiers, you will find the recommended impedance for the amplifier. First, let's talk about the HA3500 and 5500. These amplifiers have two speaker jacks. Next to the jacks, you will see 8 ohms and minimum impedance 4 ohms and the amount of watts the amp can deliver at 4 or 8 ohms. This means you can plug in an 8 ohm cabinet to each jack. The amp will see a combined impedance of 4 ohms. You may look at your two speaker cabinets that are both 8 ohms and say, how am I going to make this 4 ohms to get the full power out of my amplifier? For this answer, we need to look at the math involved in wiring speakers. If you failed math, don't worry, this is very simple. When you plug in two cabinets to a Harkey amplifier, you are using a parallel wiring configuration. So in the diagram, R1 represents a 410 cabinet with an impedance of 8 ohms. R2 represents a 115 cabinet with an impedance of 8 ohms. Get out your calculator and let's do the math. 1 over R1, or 1 over 8 ohms, equals 0.125. 1 over R2, or 1 over 8 ohms, equals 0.125. 0.125 plus 0.125 equals 0.25. 1 over 0.25 equals 4 ohms. See, that's as difficult as it gets. Now let's look at the amps and the speakers without the math. On the jack plate of your speakers, you will find the cabinet impedance. On the back of the amplifier, you will see minimum 4 ohms. If you plug in a 410 cabinet at 8 ohms and a 115 cabinet at 8 ohms, the final impedance that the amp sees is 4 ohms. So why is it important to match the impedance of the amplifier with the impedance of the speaker? If you have a Harkey 3500 head and you have an XL410 cabinet, the amp will deliver about 250 watts into the single 410 XL cabinet because the cabinet's impedance is 8 ohms. If you add another 8 ohm cabinet to the 410 XL, the two cabinets together will equal a 4 ohm impedance to the amplifier. Now the amp will deliver 350 watts to the total speaker load of 4 ohms. This is the optimum setup for the 3500 amplifier. When you match the impedance of the amplifier to your speakers, you get maximum amplifier power, you avoid wasting power from too high of a speaker impedance, you avoid excess stress on the amplifier from too low of an impedance, and you reduce distortion from driving the amp too hard to try to get sound out of it when the impedance of your speakers is too high. The new LH series from Harkey features the LH500 and the LH1000 amplifiers. These amps were designed to go with the new high drive series of speakers, but will work with any high quality bass speakers. Just make sure the speakers can handle the power these amps will deliver. The LH500 has 1 amp module and 2 speaker jacks labeled 8 ohms like the 3500 and the 5500. This amp delivers 500 watts maximum power into either one 4 ohm cabinet or two 8 ohm cabinets resulting in 4 ohms. The LH1000 has 2 amp modules and 4 speaker jacks. This amplifier can operate many ways and is stable down to 2 ohms. You can use one 8 ohm cabinet in each amp and get about 350 watts into each cabinet. You could plug in 2 8 ohm cabinets per amplifier and get 500 watts from each amp. If you have 4 ohm cabinets, you could use 2 per side and operate each amp at 2 ohms. Or, if you have one cabinet that can take 1000 watts, you could use the amp in bridge mode and drive both amps into one cabinet at 4 ohms. The Kilo amplifier from Harkey is a very different story. 2 ohms, 4 ohms, or 8 ohms makes no difference to this amplifier. We put an impedance detection circuit into the output stage of the Kilo so that it self-adjusts to the speaker impedance. The Kilo will deliver 1000 watts of power at 2 ohms, 4 ohms, or 8 ohms. No math necessary. At Harkey, we make it easy to get a good sound by matching our amps and speakers to take the guesswork out of it for you. And you can always call and talk to a qualified representative from customer service if you have any questions. For more information about Harkey products, please visit our website at www.samsontech.com.